In the light of the escalating pressures on the UK about the government's winter fuel payment policy, Peter and Florence Fanning's legal challenge against the recent cuts could shape future decisions, especially with the upcoming budget next week. And they were supported by the late Alex Salmond until recently, until his passing. And the Fannings argue that both the UK and Scottish governments neglected pensioners' needs by removing universal winter fuel payments so abruptly and so vigorously. The Court of Session's ruling to allow the case highlights its, quote, real progress of its real prospect of success, and it intensifies scrutiny on Labour's policies as the January hearing looms. The pensioner Billy Pounder expressed dismay over his support for Labour in the light of his financial struggles and the reliance on this small portable log burner for warmth and the winter fuel payment, and a scene echoed by millions now left without winter fuel aid as the winter edges in, and it promises to be extremely harsh this year. And Kenny McGaskill of the Alba Party lamented that instead of shielding Scottish pensioners, Holyrood chose to align with Westminster's austerity measures. As Chancellor Rachel Reeves prepares her budget statement, therefore, further tension builds because of these potential cuts to tax-free pension withdrawals, and it all raises questions about Labour's dedication to social welfare and the people who are going to be most immediately hit and most suddenly hit. It's the speed and the severity of these cuts which is important. A successful court ruling might restore payments in 2024 in the late part of the winter, but these people are going to suffer an initial loss of fuel payments, and it's very difficult to know how people will budget given the sudden knee-jerk decision, given the uncertainty about really whether or not this is legal, and the further straining the fiscal balance Reeves wants to address. I mean, be in no doubt, Rachel Reeves is probably one of the brighter chancellors of the Exchequer that we've got. Keir Starmer has surrounded himself with a very good cabinet, even if Keir Starmer himself is sometimes a bit lacklustre. But at the same time, one must recognise there are a series of decisions that have been taken in the immediate in the first few months of this government's tenure, which impact us all, and a successful court ruling might help, but will also strain the fiscal balance that Reeves is looking to address, especially given Labour's stated aim to close the £22 billion budget deficit. Now, whether we think that's that £22 billion budget deficit or £40 billion budget deficit, as it seems to have increased suddenly overnight, whether we think that's a real deficit or something which will only be realised if everything goes wrongly, by 2028, it is nevertheless something to be aware of. And it's a disturbing thought that the last government behaved so recklessly and was more concerned with ideology than with looking after the people.